I kind of want to do a little bit of a long form chat here today. So if it floats your boat, great, I'll be delighted. If it does not, that's okay. I have been experimenting with my phone, with social media, with my relationship to technology. If you're listening to this or you're watching this, you most likely have a phone. This device, we can't get away from it. It is something that has popped off, if you will, in the last 20 to 30 years, having a device like this that we can have on us, that we can bring with us, carry with us, have 24/7. Like, this is, if you think about this, a device where we can have an entire life, an entire world, an entire job, everything at our fingertips, is a pretty wild concept. And I don't need to get into this too much, but the amount of stimulation that this can provide is something that I don't believe our brains are like fully prepared for, because our biology has not had the time to catch up to some of the innovations that we've made. That's a whole other side tangent. I don't need to get into that, but I have learned some things that have helped me to have a very healthy relationship with this magical tool, because it is a tool, and to stop overusing it. There were times when I would catch myself, I'd go out to eat, or I'd be standing in line and I'd be on my phone scrolling. And then I thought about it and I was like, why? I don't know why. I don't know why, but it's what almost everyone does. If you go to a restaurant, it makes me so sad, but it is not uncommon to see a whole family at the table at dinner, all on their phones, doing their own individual thing. This is something that has huge effects for our mental health, our sense of connectivity. I do believe that the phone, social media, everything was designed with the best intention to bring us closer, to help us to create community, to bridge gaps. I think that the intention was there. That being said, I do think it also has come with its own problems. Yeah, so some of the things that have helped, because I have ranted for a little longer than I thought I would. Okay, the first thing that I have done that has made a noticeable impact on my general overall wellness and health is being off of my phone for the first and last hour of my day. I keep my phone in Do Not Disturb. I have it set so that at I think 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. it's in Do Not Disturb. I go to bed around 10, I wake up around 6, so that gives me about an hour buffer before and after those windows where my phone is already preset to not disturb me. Of course, sometimes there's family situations, there's emergencies, whatever. You can set it so that certain people can contact you within that Do Not Disturb period. But getting notifications from my email, getting notifications from my boss, from friends that are, asking for a picture from 2008, whatever. Like, these things they're not urgent. I don't need to have that filling my space. And so it is so much easier to just put your phone in Do Not Disturb and allow yourself to have a little bit of peace in the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. There's been a lot of studies. I'm not going to get into the science today, but there's tons of studies that show what happens to your brain when you are overstimulated, when you get on your phone first thing in the morning, and also what happens when you're when you're on your phone and there's blue light and everything that disrupts your sleep, your ability to relax and wind down. These things have a genuine physical impact on our physiology as human beings. This is not like I'm mentally stronger than my phone. No, these things have a physiological impact on us. One of the ways that I began to notice this was paying attention to my own relationship to the world and to my experience of dopamine. And I saw almost disturbing changes when I put my phone in grayscale. So for those of you who don't know, quick lesson. If you go to settings on your phone. My phone is currently set in red because it's late and I don't want to be looking at the blue light. But if you go into your settings and you scroll down to accessibility, and then under vision at the very top, you will see display text and size. So you click that. Once you're under display text and size, you can scroll down and there's a little spot here that says color filters, and you can press this little toggle. I just pressed it to turn it off. You can press this little toggle and all of these options will come down. So the first one that I began to experiment with was grayscale. And so the phone looks like this. Everything is black and white. There's no colors. I put my phone into grayscale and I said, I'm going to do this for a couple of days. So I put my phone in grayscale, whatever, went about my business, was still on social media. Almost instantly noticed I didn't care about social media the same. I went on it and I was like, oh, this is boring. Everything's black and white, whatever. So I was maybe on there for 5 minutes. I started to notice like, wow, I don't remember the sky being this blue. And I started noticing, I don't remember things looking this vibrant. And it began to register with me that the amount, even of just like the little bit of color on the phone, even just like this amount of color on your phone that you're staring at every single freaking day, probably a decent amount of the day, it literally overwhelmed my brain, my dopamine receptors, everything, to the point where the world around me outside of my phone looked less vibrant. It looked less exciting. It was boring to me. The people who have designed the phone are brilliant. The colors are phenomenal. They're crisp, everything, but like aesthetically, the phone is so beautifully engineered. It is a work of art. I am not bashing it. It is a work of art. But we are all subjected to this every single day, and it is not a thing that people are consciously thinking about. It's not a thing that people are aware of because they don't realize how much it's impacting their brain. I put my phone into grayscale and almost immediately, as in within hours, noticed a difference in the way that I saw the world. The thing that really kind of began to sink in with me was when I took my phone out of grayscale about maybe 2 to 3 days after that. And I looked at my phone with all of its full vibrant colors. I think I was on social media, and I literally felt like I was gonna vomit. My brain felt so overstimulated. It felt so like I could not handle the amount. And it's not crazy. Like for pretty much anyone listening to this, you're like, we look at our phone every day. It's not a big deal. When you take that stimulus away for a few days and you're not used to it, and you come back to it and you look at it, it is like, oh my God. Like, why do you think that kids, when they get a chance to be on the iPad, they're so excited? Because there's so much dopamine that your brain releases. It's so stimulating. It's exciting. It's so rich in color. The world does not look like that when you are used to looking at it through this device. It's a totally different experience. So as soon as I took the phone out of grayscale and saw how overstimulating it was and realized my brain is used to this, like this is normal for me. This is normal for so many people. This is how we function. I don't know. I got a lot of red flags from that. So my biggest recommendation, if you decided to take anything away from today, aside from the first and last hour of your day, not being on your phone, is to try putting your phone into grayscale for a few days and seeing how you respond to just making that single change alone and changing the visual experience that you have with it. Also, another pro tip, if you want to save yourself time and not have to go through the whole process of going through your phone every time to change the color settings, because sometimes like if you're looking at pictures or whatever for work, you do need to toggle back and forth between grayscale and color. So I did find a really neat shortcut. So if you go back into your settings under accessibility, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there's going to be the second one down to the bottom is going to say accessibility shortcut. And if you click that, you have the option to triple click this little guy right here. You can triple click that and it will automatically do it for you. So for me, you scroll down, you pick the one that you want. So I have color filters set. So if I hit my phone 3 times, 1, 2, 3, it'll switch back into regular. And as you can see, color filters is the one that I selected and I moved it to the top. So I think color filters is like towards the bottom. But once you have that selected, every time that you want to change, your phone from regular to the red scale, gray scale, whatever, you just hit that 3 times. The only bummer with that is you have to pick if you want it to go to grayscale or if you want it to go to color tint. I have mine on color tint right now, and even throughout the day, I'll just put it on this if I don't want to deal with having all the full range of colors all at once. But yeah, it's a helpful tip. It saved me a lot of time. Press that little button 3 times. Best lifesaver ever. So that's my fun little hack. Finally, the last thing that I have found that has, at least that I can think of right now, that has really made a difference between how I relate to my phone and to social media is to have the intention of creating more than I consume, or if not more, just as much as. I do think that there is value in having an awareness to what this dynamic is and what your part is in the dynamic. If you're in a dynamic where you're sitting there and you're taking in all this information and you're not doing anything with it, you're not journaling about it, or you're not doing something actionable with it in your life. Creating doesn't have to necessarily mean physically creating something. It's not like, oh, I have to create a video. If I watch a video on like personal development and I go into my life and I change the way that I'm acting in something or change the way that I'm showing up, I'm creating a different life, a different version of myself. That is still to me being involved in a give and take. It's involved in a community, so to speak, or some kind of an exchange. But if you're sitting there and you're just taking in the information and like sitting with it and not doing anything with it, which I have done as well, you may find that it doesn't feel like it's feeding you. Like it's like eating cupcakes for breakfast, you know, like sure it feeds you and you may feel full, but it's not nourishing you. And on a long-term basis, it's not really satisfying you either. At least that was my experience with it. My encouragement is more so outside of that to take whatever it is that you're taking in and do something with that. You know, if you see pictures of your family, your brother's baby, okay, can I now have a phone call with him and talk to him about his life? You know, using it as a point to encourage connection rather than something that we're just using to get our dopamine hit and numb, and then calm down for a little, and then we need another dopamine hit, and then we numb, and we keep doing this like cycle without actually going a layer deeper than that and choosing to use it as a point of connection, like in a real way, or a point of growth or a point of development. Not everything has to be that way. Sometimes, you know, it's nice to just sit back and listen to a stand-up, you know, comedy show and whatever. So please don't take everything that I'm saying too heavily. Take it with a grain of salt. But if you're noticing that your relationship to your phone, to technology, to social media is feeling toxic or draining, maybe you should, you know, reconsider some of your habits. These are the things that have really helped me to sort of clean up my behaviors. First and last hour of the day, as soon as I stopped being on my phone at those times, I noticed a huge increase in my wellness. When I stopped looking at my phone and all the colors all the time and I put it in grayscale, I noticed that I was more excited about my world, my actual physical living world, than I was about the pictures that were on my phone and everything that was going on my screen. When I started to change the relationship that I had with the content that was there, and I started to choose to utilize it for good and to actually utilize it rather than to just consume it and numb and consume it and numb and consume it and numb, it opened up a level of excitement for me, and feeling now again that I'm back on and I'm starting to share things again, that exchange is coming back for me, and it feels more holistic and it feels more fueling and less draining and less like it's actually taking away from my life, because I do believe that this is not the worst thing in the world. I think that it can be, but I also do think it can be a tool. So if we can moderate the way that we react to it, the way that we work with it, I think it can be a pretty big game changer. So yeah, love you guys so much. Thanks for joining. Let me know if any of this resonated, if it helped, if any of it stood out to you, if this is advice you guys have heard before or know of. This was very long form. I went on a walk, I got a hair at my ass, decided to film something. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming into my TED Talk. I will probably be doing more of these, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.